In today's video, we're diving deep into the topic of catastrophizing, that habit of instantly expecting the worst possible outcome. Catastrophizing is basically a masterclass in how to make yourself anxious, depressed, and completely sabotage your own life. But don't worry, I'm also going to share with you 3 powerful strategies you can use to break free from this cycle and replace it with something way healthier. So, stick around because this is going to be a game changer. Also, quick heads up, this video is part of my in-depth course on rewiring the anxious brain, available now on Udemy.com. If you're interested, check it out after watching. Picture this. A man is driving down a lonely, pitch-black country road late at night. Suddenly, there's a loud bang and the rhythmic thumping of a flat tire. He pulls over, opens his trunk, and grabs his spare and a lug wrench. But with a sinking feeling, he realizes his jack is missing. He checks his phone. No signal. Now, he's stranded. As he looks around, he spots a distant porch light. With no other option, he decides to walk over and ask the homeowner for a jack. As he trudges through the dark, his mind races. What if the farmer's already in bed and furious about being woken up, but he keeps going? Then the thoughts escalate. What if the farmer doesn't have a jack? What if he's armed? What if he sicks his dog on me? What if he robs me? Fear turns into anger. By the time he reaches the door, he's convinced the farmer's a monster. The light flips on, the door opens, and the farmer says, "Can I help you?" The stranded man, fueled by pure rage, yells, "I don't want your stupid jack anyway," and storms off. So, what exactly is catastrophizing? It's one of the most common thinking errors, imagining the worst-case scenario as inevitable. You might stress about failing a test and then spin it out into a full-blown disaster-failing school, working a dead-end job, and ending up homeless. It's taking a challenge and blowing it up into an epic failure in your mind. We've all seen someone spiral over a bad grade or heard parents say things like, "If you don't clean your room, you'll never succeed in life." Sound extreme? It is. And that's exactly how catastrophizing works. Just like the man in the story, a real problem, like a flat tire, becomes a story of danger, violence, and doom. At its core, catastrophizing is a learned habit of seeing challenges as impossible disasters. Now, take a moment and think. How do you react to setbacks? Pause this video if you need to and really reflect. If catastrophizing becomes a pattern, it paves the way to chronic anxiety and depression. You start to believe that recovery isn't even possible. For instance, someone with anxiety might fear that a trip to the mall will end in a catastrophic panic attack. A person struggling with depression might believe they'll never feel joy again. A teenager facing a little social rejection might convince themselves that they'll be unloved forever. These thought spirals lock us into fear, hopelessness, and isolation. How does catastrophizing actually wreck our lives? Well, first it shuts down opportunities. Just like the man who never even asked for help because he assumed rejection, we often slam doors shut before they even open. If you expect someone to react badly, you might come off defensive and actually cause the conflict you feared. If you assume a crush will reject you, you might never ask them out, guaranteeing loneliness. Worst of all, catastrophizing alters your brain chemistry. When we imagine a hopeless future, our brain dials down serotonin and dopamine, the chemicals tied to happiness, pleasure, and motivation. Pretty soon, life feels pointless, overwhelming, and suffocating. You lose motivation, you stop trying. It becomes a vicious cycle of fear and withdrawal. So, if it's so destructive, why do we keep catastrophizing? Hold up, if you're beating yourself up right now, stop. Take a breath. You are not broken, you're just caught in an unhelpful pattern. One you can absolutely change. If you need to, pause this video and show yourself some kindness. You're doing the hard work right now by learning how to think differently. So why do we fall into this trap? First, catastrophizing is a way to avoid feeling uncertainty. If you expect failure, you think you won't feel disappointed, you're pre-bracing for pain. But ironically, you end up living inside fear and sadness all the time. Second, fear can feel like a strong motivator. Maybe you or your parents used fear-based motivation like get good grades or you'll ruin your future. Fear might push you short-term, but it wrecks your energy and confidence over time. Think about a kid scared of school. Parents might say, "You have to go or your life will be ruined." And yes, the kid might go, but filled with terror and dread. Eventually, this strategy backfires, making it even harder to face challenges. Ever give yourself a pep talk that's really just a fear rant? If I don't ace this, I'm a total failure. Fear-driven motivation is not sustainable. It drains you, it paralyzes you. So instead, let's talk about healthier ways to shift out of this mindset and start living with more hope and resilience. First, prioritize sleep. Lack of sleep makes us hypersensitive to threats and weakens our ability to cope. Being rested makes you mentally stronger. Second, practice accepting uncertainty. Life isn't meant to be perfectly predictable. When anxiety comes, remind yourself, this feels uncomfortable, but I can handle it. Building tolerance for discomfort is like building emotional muscles. Try mindfulness, meditation, or even doing one thing that scares you every day. And third, set positive goals based on what you truly want. Instead of moving from fear, I have to go to school or I'll fail, move from hope, I'm going to school because I want to be a therapist someday. Positive goals create motivation rooted in dreams, not dread. Now here's a classic CBT method for stopping catastrophizing. First, recognize it when it happens. Notice the words you use, never always terrible failure. Catch yourself when you spiral, write it down if it helps. Ask trusted people to gently point it out. Second, challenge those thoughts. Just because you think something awful is going to happen doesn't make it true. You don't have to believe every fear that pops into your head. Practice noticing and letting those thoughts pass, like leaves floating down a stream. And third, replace catastrophizing with more realistic, helpful thoughts. For example, you mess up at work and think, I'm such an idiot, I'm getting fired. Replace that with, everyone makes mistakes, I'll fix it and keep doing my best. Or you snap at your boyfriend and think, he's going to break up with me. Replace that with, I shouldn't have said that, but I can apologize and work to communicate better. Staying vulnerable, being willing to try even when you might mess up, is the key to growth. Acceptance and commitment therapy teaches us to open ourselves to the full range of emotions: love, fear, joy, sadness, instead of running from them. As you face life with open hands and a brave heart, you'll find good things happening more and more often. Courage creates opportunity. Hope builds resilience. Life, with all its risks, can still be beautiful. If this video resonated with you, please share it. You never know who might need to hear it today. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.